fascinating because one of the things that I've learned over the years is that government does two things. It provides opportunity and it provides services. And government is of the people because all of us pay taxes. The problem is that we've not distributed them effectively so that all of us benefit. And so it is up to the people to demand, and that's why I'm so, so grateful to our senator for putting this on, because he is definitely a man of the people. But let me just remind you all, I don't care if you're 18 or 40 and you're an African American male. I don't care if if you're a returning citizen or you have a PhD. It is difficult at best to rise in America as you should. And so the conversation around racism in this nation needs to be had, because that racism exists in all of our companies, all of our corporations, and we talk about being judged by the content of our character, but yet we're still being judged by the color of our skin. And so when we talk about tax credits and all these things that need to take place, and we talk about where we should be in this society, it's about a more diverse, inclusive country and community. And so when I look at Baltimore, and it's very systemic, and one of the things that you mentioned is the adult illiteracy rate. In Baltimore City, 38% of adults don't read above the 8th grade level. So if we're getting cable services inside of our homes, why are we not demanding that those cable services provide 24-hour opportunities to teach people how to read, because nobody wants to sit in a classroom as an adult and be taught how to read. I mean, we're all paying our cable bills, so why can't we have that done? I mean, it's just that simple, you all. Seriously, 3,000 people sleeping on the streets of Baltimore City. 3,000. I don't know how many sleeping on the streets of Philadelphia, but here's but we don't monetize it, because not only is it a problem, it is also an opportunity. So the data, for example, says that you can build a 300 unit housing for a 300 unit at $125 a square foot. So if you monetize that, that's $120 million. That's or if you round it off to 40,000, 120 million, or maybe it's 150 million. But nobody says, so at what point do we really end homelessness in our communities and in our cities and in our nation? Because you got to put a price tag on it, because the price tag identifies the opportunity. And then you got to get people into these facilities, because the federal government has already told us that they're not building shelters. They want us to build homes so that we can provide the services to the people who need those services. And when you talk about building shopping centers and retail establishments in our communities, we built a shopping center in the middle of Baltimore, and among one of the worst neighborhoods in the city. And let me tell you, supermarkets are there, Target is there, Marshall's is there. You know why? Because we spend money. And when we demand, and the neighborhood did not want another McDonald's, so we're not having it. We want sit-down restaurants in our neighborhoods. And they held out until they got it. And so our responsibility as leaders is to make sure we get for our communities and neighborhoods what they deserve, because all of us sit around here and we pay taxes and we don't make the demands. Nobody does us a favor by bringing a retail establishment into our communities, because we're going to go somewhere and spend our dollars. And so we need the training programs, for example, to be tied to industry. If you're putting a supermarket into the industry, instead of training people in these, I call them fake programs, where everybody comes in, you sit down, you train, we tell you we're going to get you a job, but you may never get a job. Give the money to the employers and say, if it's a $20 an hour job and it's going to take a year to train somebody, let us pay $10 worth of training so that we can get people working. We got to get America working. Everybody wants a paycheck. And I tell people, I've not met the person yet who doesn't want one. And I want to say one other thing so that everybody else can participate in this conversation. It is what we do at the earliest age for our children. At the earliest age. I'm talking about when women become pregnant. My mother said that the reason I like Bach, Beethoven, and Brahms is because that's what she played when I was in her womb. Okay? So we've started what we call the Maryland Judy Centers, and I think we're doing them around the nation now, where we start teaching children at 6 weeks of age, because that's how we're going to change their character. You know, I tell people this problem with policing in our nation, I know when I was growing up, you walk in a classroom, you say, how many You want to be police officers. The hands of young black boys would just rise up. You walk in a classroom today and see how many hands rise up. So we're doing something different, and we've got to change the thinking, the mindset, and that begins at our earliest age. And having said that, economic development is the key. When we talk about research dollars, we got to make sure that our black institutions are included in those research dollars. As a member of the State Senate of Maryland, when the state decided to divvy up research dollars, they said, Johns Hopkins, University of Maryland, absolutely, we must give them research dollars. And I said, well, Morgan State University, they said, oh, it's not a research institution. Yes, it is. It produces more black engineers in this nation than any other institution in the country. So yes, they deserve research dollars, and they were put into those research dollars. And so we as legislators, as representatives of the people, and I can't wait to lead Baltimore. I can't wait to be the mayor, because I'm going to create a more inclusive, diverse city that understands that when we lift the least, we lift all of us. Thank you all.
Fantastic.